The material external view on life can only see events which are disconnected to each other and which ultimately do not create a meaning, a sense of meaning in life. And we as a human being are very much depending on understanding why things are happening. The unity of our experience is an integral aspect of our mental and also physical health. To understand this unity, how all the things are connected, what is the deeper meaning within life, cannot be seen, or this question cannot be answered on an external material level. It can only be answered on a deeper level, on the deeper level of an underlying reality. And this underlying reality, in a very neutral, in a very almost technical language, we call the informational field. Informational field is the underlying reality of our life, and time waver is a quantum physical interface to this informational field, which is meant for, or which is designed for, communicating to this deeper level of reality. Information field is not very difficult to understand. Every one of us has a natural feeling for a level of reality which is not visible. We have a natural feeling for a level within ourselves, or a level behind what is obvious to our eyes, to our senses, which gives everything which happens a deeper meaning, which connects things in a meaningful way which seem to have no connection at all. But if things would be really so disconnected as they appear to our senses, to our observation, we would lose our meaning, our deep feeling of meaning in life, our deep feeling that life is good, something like this. So this feeling which everyone has, this intuition, points to a deeper level of reality on which things which don't seem to be connected on an outer level, on a just material level, which are connected and form a higher unity. So this deeper level of reality has been given different names in different cultures. Even in science, we give it names like the underlying quantum field, like the quantum vacuum. It's a level of unity on which things are connected which look very much disconnected. For example, two photons which originated from one source and moved in different directions can have a distance of 2 million light years. One can be here in our Milky Way, the other photon can already have reached the Andromeda galaxy, and still these two photons are always connected by what we call an entanglement. So whatever happens to the photon in the Milky Way simultaneously influences the physical state of the photon in the Andromeda galaxy. So this shows that there is a deeper level of connectedness, of higher connectedness, which is forming an underlying level of reality. So everyone has a natural feeling for it. If we wouldn't have this feeling, we would be desperate with all the things which happen in the life, which from the certain perspective, just material perspective, are not at all meaningful. So we might give different names to this level, and one possible perspective on this level or name is the informational field. Because information is a concept which connects matter and psyche or mind. Matter is not even we cannot even think about matter without thinking about information being there within matter. And our mind is constantly perceiving and creating information, which we then express and which again influences matter. So information is something common to matter and mind. It is different from matter and mind, and it seems to be translating between mind and matter and vice versa. It is actually the missing link between. It's a third concept, which is absolutely necessary to have to understand how this reality functions. So therefore, it's very meaningful to give information which is not matter and it's not mind, but simultaneously connected to both of them, to give it its own place in the scientific description of reality. So in order to have it, for information to have its own place, or not just be an attribute of matter or a content of mind, we call it the information field, and we have even a mathematical formal description of the place where the information field resides. This formal description goes back to a German physicist called Burkhard Heim, who found out by a purely deductive mathematical way that four-dimensional space-time, material four-dimensional space-time, needs to be embedded within a six-dimensional hyperspace, which has two additional dimensions or coordinates, which is the fifth and the sixth dimension. And this fifth and sixth dimension together constitute a space which we call informational space or informational field. It's a level of reality from which physical reality is energetically controlled, and of course a level of reality which influences the mind also and is influenced by the mind. It is something like an interface between the material reality and the reality of consciousness. And therefore it is so important, because this is the level where things go wrong. If mind and matter, if body and consciousness are not in harmony, if they are not communicating openly, actively with each other, normally we are facing problems in life. We might face diseases, we might face accidents, we might face hints that there is an inner split. So by looking at the informational field, by looking at communicating with the informational field, we can see behind the problems, and we might get an idea or impulses how these problems can be solved. And this is the very idea of information field technology or of information field medicine, which is the underlying principle of time weaver. Communicating with the informational field by quantum processes and displaying this communication in a matrix of symbols and words and intelligible terms which we can understand. This is heart of time weaver. We call it a library of informational patterns, which this is at least our goal at one point in time shall consist of a whole healing knowledge of humanity. Already now we have more than 600,000 of these informational patterns in this library, which consists of spiritual level, the karmic level, informational level, psychological level, energetic level, frequency level, physiological level, material level. So all these levels which are within us and which are also underlying the reality which we are living in, we have represented in this more than 600,000 informational patterns within the time weaver database. But in the background we are already working with a database which has 66 billion informational patterns to correspond to the complexity of reality.